Well, that, of course, was White House Chief Economic Advisor Larry Kudlow sticking with his suggestion that the economic recovery is off to the races. Here to react is Art Laffer, former Reagan economist. Art, great to see you. Thank you for coming here. I hope things are good in Tennessee. I imagine they're better than they are in New York, where we're still in close down. But what do you think about the V-shaped recovery? It's kind of hard to stick to that prediction when you have a Monday morning where the market's down 600 points.
Oh, it's hard to stick with anything when the market's down 600 points, David. It's just depressing as all get out. But Larry Kudlow is about as good as they come. He knows his numbers. He knows his financial stuff backwards and forwards. And if he says it's a V-shaped, I'm willing to concede that to him. I think he's right. I think all the indications are that it's going to be very rapid recovery back. I don't know whether it's going to get to the old levels or not, but I think the bounce is going to be very V-shaped. It depends, by the way, as you know, on what the next when the next stimulus package is going to be from the president. If it's a payroll tax waiver, it's going to be really V-shaped. I mean, we're going to jump back in employment dramatically, and all these people who are rioting and protesting, they'll have jobs, so they won't be able to do that anymore, and it'll be great.
But Art, let me push back a little bit, because we've been talking all morning about New York Governor Cuomo, who is threatening to keep the lockdown in New York because we had a beautiful weekend and people went out to party and they were getting too close. I mean, you still have politicians who I think are short-sighted enough so that they are willing to kill an economy like Manhattan's, which is very important to our national economy, because a few people, right? It kind of reminds me of a deranged school principal who reacts to a couple of bad students by burning down a whole school.
Yeah. You know, it's hard to imagine a politician not being a megalomaniac who wants to control everyone else's lives. I mean, that's why we have democracy. That's why we have limited government, is to keep them from taking over everything.
But
But they're moving more and more towards that. Cuomo's a classic case of that. You know, his job is to be good for the state, not to be good for himself, not to be good in his own terms of controlling everyone else's lives.
So, Art, my question, let me just focus on one question here, which is, even if you have the kind of stimulus you think would be good for the economy, if you have politicians like Governor Cuomo keeping the economy closed, no matter what you do to stimulate the economy, it won't work.
He won't keep it closed 100%. That day is gone. He can't now, but what he's going to do is try to control as much of it as he can, but he can't stop free markets, David. There's no way anyone ever can stop people trying to be better themselves. Economics ultimately prevails no matter what the top-down people say. We win in the long run every single time. They do a lot of damage in the process, don't get me wrong, but whenever people try to stop people from doing what they want to do, what they think is good for their families, they ultimately always lose. And I think Cuomo's going to lose this battle as well. And here in Tennessee, we don't have that problem to the extent New York does, and we're coming back really great. Most of the country will, David. So I think Larry, bottom line, is in spite of the Cuomos, in spite of the Murphys, in spite of the Lamonts, in spite of these people, we're going to have a V-shaped recovery, and these people will ultimately have to buckle to free market economics, which will ultimately win.
If anybody doubts that optimism is something that will keep you young, look at Art Laffer, listen to his optimism, and realize that's why he looks about 30 years old
younger. 80 years old in a week, in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. How's that?
I didn't want a confession from you, Art. I did not want a confession.
It's wonderful, David. I mean, we have our problems, but they're nothing compared to the joys we have on this earth.
You're right.
It's just wonderful life.
Art Laffer, you're a great man. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate the optimism.
You're wonderful, David, and I love knowing you.
God bless you.